The VRU has listened to the views and opinions of young people who work with us and are involved in our prevention and early intervention programs. Those young people have made it clear that posting images of knives seized by the police often heightens the sense of fear in communities, particularly amongst young people. As a result of this engagement with the young people who may be at risk of being affected by knife crime, the VRU does not post images of knives. The Metropolitan Police Service works hard to remove knives and dangerous weapons from our streets. There is a view that posting images on social media is an opportunity to highlight the work they're doing to tackle violence in London. While the VRU is clear on its position, this is obviously an ongoing debate, and more evidence is being gathered that will help the Met Police Service and others consider the issue more closely. New research from Sheffield Hallam University and South Yorkshire's VRU, plus a study from University College London, are due to be completed later this year. These projects are examining the impact of using knife imagery in interventions, campaigns and media releases on the perceptions and attitudes of young people. The Sheffield Hallam study is investigating the effects knife images have on perceptions of the level of knife carrying, as well as the fears and attitudes that surround knives, whilst the UCL study is looking at whether posting images of knives could backfire, including whether young people exposed to this imagery in fact become more likely to carry knives. I welcome this research. This will help inform the MPS's approach to publishing images of knives on its social media channels. The MPS and I look forward to the publication of the new research, and I'll continue to work with the VRU who champion the views and opinions of young people in our city.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. And my colleague, Assembly Member Berry, raised the harm caused by images of knives shared by police social media accounts with you back in 2017, so it's not a new issue. Now, my recent research found that in this last year, the Met circulated more than 2,100 images of knives on Twitter. I'll give you this printout later. But it's made up of 15 from the main Met account, 16 from firearms, 82 from roads policing, 229 from the Met Task Force, 612 from Met Borough accounts, and the ward team accounts shared 1,200 of these images in total. So that's in total more than 2,100 images over the year. Meanwhile, the three leading knife harm charities shared just 2 images of blades between them over the year. And as you've said, your own violence reduction unit and even the website for the Home Office's Knife Free campaign don't share these images of scary knives. Now, do you agree that there are better ways to show the work that the Met are doing on reducing knife violence than sharing images of, frankly, terrifying knives on Twitter?
Well, can I, as I often do, thank you and Sean for pushing this issue over the last few years. I saw the exchange at the Police and Crime Committee I didn't see I saw the TV report of the exchange, and it was really interesting. As I've said, there are 2 really big pieces of work coming out very shortly, literally imminently, and I think it's important for the police to look at that work, because that will be the evidence that you're talking about, which is difficult, hopefully, to dispute, assuming the evidence is as you suggest it may be. So let's wait and see what the evidence is. I think you can guess from the work what the VRU does, which obviously I'm responsible for, in relation to the view of the VRU, which Liv Peck was quite clear about. And the evidence will hopefully persuade the MPS, if it is as you suggest, to change their stance as well. Still make the point that the MPS want to make about the hard work they're doing, taking knives and offensive weapons off our streets without the negative connotations that imagery can have.
I mean, you mentioned this research is coming soon. I've actually heard this morning it's likely not to be coming until next Easter, so that's not this year. It's coming in next year. But I you know, the research from University of Strathclyde, and which they've done with the Scottish Violence Reduction Unit, young people have said that showing distinctive or flashy-looking images of knives might influence people to adopt knife carrying. Dr. Charlotte Coleman from Sheffield Hallam University, who helped with that study, said that the knife images had the potential to frighten susceptible young people into carrying knives for self-defence. Equally, others, she said, could be prompted into carrying them because they thought it was cool. So don't you think it's time that we do listen to the academics and the young people? And I do acknowledge that your that, you know, that the Violence Reduction Unit is not showing these images, but don't you think that you could ask the Met to suspend the practice of showing these knife images on social media, at least until the formal research comes out?
Well, I'm happy to direct the MPS to the work you've talked about. I've not seen the latest stuff you've talked about, and the MPS clearly have got to consider this as an operational matter. But I'm more than happy to forward on the new research you've talked about, if it is new. As I said to you, my understanding is that the two pieces of work from Sheffield Hallam and the UCL were imminent. If you're saying they're now being delayed till next year, Easter, which is 6 months away, that may change the MPS's view in relation to them looking at the recent evidence in the near future rather than it being 6 months away. But I'm more than happy, Chair, to pass on to the MPS the latest evidence you're talking about.
Thank you very much. I'm pretty much out of time, but I really do think this is somewhere where just if the Met were to pause on this practice of sharing these images, that actually might reduce harm. But thank you.